Welcome to the Driveway Dad Podcast. I'm Carl Parker, father of 5, sharing the highs and lows of raising young athletes. Join me as we uncover secrets on our journey through middle school, high school, college sports, and beyond. Please share and enjoy.
What's up, fam? It's your host, Coach Carl Parker, back with episode 6 of the podcast. Today, we're going to talk about the future. We're talking about the future, our kids, and listen, what are they going to be? Where are they going? What are we doing? Some of these leaders, these future leaders, are sitting at your dining room table this evening. Some of them, you're watching them play a basketball game at the tournament this weekend. Some of them are out in the driveway hooping. Cool. We have a responsibility to those people. And if not us, then who? Who will take the responsibility for that? Now, I get it. Parents, we got a million things that we need to do, right? We got to get kids to and from school, get them up in the morning. We have a mortgage to take care of. We have the grass to cut. We have a ton to do. But the question is, are we relying on the schools to do our job? Most of us are just crossing our fingers and hoping that these kids turn out right instead of taking an active role in their character development. And that's where I think sports comes in. Sports is a great opportunity for us to mold them in the way that they should go, right? We get to build the future persons that we want to see. So we're talking about, character. We're talking about core values. We're talking about discipline. These are the things that we have to intentionally develop in our kids now more than ever. Because right now, if you take a look at who is influencing our kids, whether they be politicians or social media, these are things that our kids are being subjected to and will ultimately become a reflection of if we don't do something about it. These kids aren't just kids. They are the future. I know that sounds cliche, but the fact is, that's what it is. You want to predict what we're going to look like in 50 years? Just look at those little middle schoolers running around. How are they treating each other? Who is influencing them? That's who they're becoming. And so this whole podcast, the Driveway Dads movement, the community, is about helping fellow parents just do a better job, be a little bit more intentional about how we're raising our kids. And we're using the platform of sports to do that. And so you got to ask yourself, do you want them to be a reflection of the world that we see today? Or do we see a brighter future, a better future, a vision for more for our kids? Schools are important. I get it. Like, schools are important, but I've seen too many parents outsource their values and disciplines to the schools, hoping it all works out. Spoiler alert, it won't, because that's not their job. Even as a coach of a team, I need parents who are going to support my mission, actively support my mission, right? There's always going to be a group of parents who phone it in, who are not really involved. They are just crossing their fingers and hoping it all works out. Am I asking for parents to be on my back and into every, single decision that I make with my group? No, but I respect a parent who is like, what are we doing? Where are we going? And asks questions about how we're developing their kid. Wanting to know, what's your plan? Making sure that plan is in line with their plan for their child. There are a few core skills that every kid needs to have in order for us to accomplish this goal. And the first one that I like to talk about is resilience and mental toughness. Now, resilience and mental toughness is about being able to respond to adversity, be able to respond to negativity, respond to bullies, or just plain bad luck. How do we get back up? when we hit a wall, when we hit a challenge. That's an area that honestly we don't do enough work around. Like, for example, I know that I have to sometimes put challenges in my kids' way so that they can learn to solve problems as they go. Or at a minimum, put them in situations where they have to respond, where they have to get past where they are at the moment. Life isn't always fair, but we need to teach our kids how to get back up. And we've already, put them at the front of the pack. If we can just get them to get that one small skill, how to get back up when they get knocked down. The second thing that I think we need, that we're teaching our kids so that they become the future leaders that we all need, is solid decision-making skills, right? We got to teach them how to pause and think and make choices based on values, not emotion or peer pressure. Now, that is, I think, undervalued. A lot of parents like to joystick every decision that their kids make. But the fact is that during these formative years where before these kids leave your house, whether it be to go off to high school or college, you need to make sure that they know how to make decisions. You don't want to be at home with a freshman in college having no clue as to what decisions they're going to make because you've never challenged them. You've never given them the leeway to make decisions about what they're doing, right? And so we got to make sure that we give them responsibilities so that they can exercise that decision-making process. Break it down. If we stay up later tonight to watch the rest of this terrible Jake Paul, Mike Tyson fight, OMG, then you have a tournament in the morning. You're going to be tired when you get up, and we play at 10 a.m., right? You can stay up if you want, but you got to make a decision. Here are the consequences, and as parents, we can just help because that's what we do, right? We make certain decisions because we know the consequences. And so you need to make sure that you walk them through the process. Show them what the alternatives are. This is how you build young people who can make decisions in a pinch. Now, the third thing are core values. Like, we're talking about character. And a number one thing that today is really on my heart is the issue of telling the truth. Telling the truth is hard. And you need to be able to tell the truth when look, it's difficult, when it's inconvenient, not just when it's easy, right? But when you get in those tough moments where telling the truth is extremely difficult, is your child prepared to make the right choice and tell the truth? I feel like over the last several years, we have allowed characters on the internet and on the television screens, we've given them a pass on all the BS that they're putting out. We know, like, listen, you don't need to have a PhD or an MBA to understand when someone is lying. But somehow we've gotten up to a point where it's okay if that person is lying. There's a good reason for them to lie. When did we start doing that? As a society, okay, cool. If that's what they're doing in society, that's what they're doing out in the streets, that's when you need to dial in and make sure that your kids understand that that is unacceptable. Demand more from them. Demand the truth from them every single time. Make sure they understand why it's important, right? And listen, one of the things that I do with my boys, we have definitions for all these different character values and these core values. And they need to know these things verbatim. So I'll ask them, what is discipline? And it may seem a little nutty to do it that way, but I also remember a time when I grew up with one of my favorite teachers ever. And she used to make us do these, memorize the parts of speech. And at the time, man, I remember struggling to learn it. But you know what? That was, that was 30 years ago. And guess what? To this day, I can call up that information. A noun, like, watch this. A noun is the name of a person, place, animal, or thing, group, or collections of animals or things, acts, ideas, or processes. Boom. Now, check that out. I can actually, if I had a question about what a word is, right? I'm trying to understand something that I don't know, and I get it. There's a lot of it that you'll just boom off the top. But sometimes you don't know why that word is a noun, or you don't understand why that part of speech is what it is until you can recall the definition and you go, it's an idea. That's why it's a noun. And so just having that in your back pocket and things like that, definitions that you can roll off the tip of your tongue, could be very useful to your children when they are in situations where they got to make decisions. Hey guys, quick interruption to the show to tell you about something I think you're going to love. Our free game day guide. It's packed with practical tips to help your young athletes stay focused, confident, and locked in for every game. Whether it's building a pregame routine, managing nerves, or staying in the zone, this guide has you covered. Head over to wecoachparents.com/game ready to grab your copy and give your athletes the tools to perform their best. All right, back to the show. The fourth thing, right? Respect. I don't know where that the whole concept of respecting others has gone. I mean, whether it was, as a kid growing up in the Bronx, adults, you were not allowed to cuss in front of an adult. Wasn't done. Other standards that were, that taught me respect is getting up, right? I'm growing up in the city. We're on, public transportation. I see someone who needs my seat. I am supposed to stand up and let that person have my seat. That's respect for others. That's putting others before myself. Even picking up trash. My dad, oh my God, he used to be on me about that. I remember, walking and then getting tapped in the back of the head. And I'm like, yo, what? What did I do now, right? And he was like, yo, you didn't see that trash? You didn't see that? And I was like, no, but I didn't put it there. And his lesson was, I don't care who put it there, right? That was somebody disrespecting this area by putting that there. And you can fix it. You can fix it and show everybody else in my neighborhood, on my street, in front of my house, what respect for having a clean property looks like. I know that's a stretch on respect, but again, I don't want to sound like the OG who's just, reflecting on what it was. But the fact is that we have lost a magnitude of respect for each other. And, we need to understand that we need to teach these kids. They're not going to just learn it by themselves. Again, teachers, shout out my teachers. Love you guys. Coaches who are teaching these things, but you have got to back it up at home with what you're teaching the kids. And so if you're going to have a conversation, an intellectual discussion, an exchange of ideas, you have to be able to respect various and different viewpoints. That's the way you are actually able to grow and learn more about the person next to you by listening to them, by affording them the respect of, you know what? you have a position, you have a thought, you have a position on something, cool. I respect that. I am not even going to try to change your mind about it because I respect that you have this position. But let me tell you what I think. And then maybe there's a common ground. That comes from a deep sense of respect for others. And I am sure you can agree that we've lost that. We've lost a lot of it. So again, all of us have to get to a point where we are teaching these things. So what can we do as parents? The first thing that we could do, which is something that this is sort of the reason for the Driveway Dads platform. I'm here to support parents who are trying to raise young athletes. And do you know the best way to teach them these things that we need them to learn so that we can build the future that we want to see? We got to lead by example. That means taking a stand now. That means telling the truth now. That means, demonstrating great core values out in the open because your kids are watching whether you are doing this or not. So that needs to be the first thing that you do, that we have to lead by example. The other thing is you're going to have to be a little more intentional about creating situations that are teachable moments. There is, for example, we talked about the 10 things that you could tell your kids after a game. Those are teachable moments. When you are walking your kid through it and you're saying, for example, I really like the way you pushed through that situation where you had a foul or something like that, and I saw the level of frustration. I'm really proud of how you bounced back from that. Not only are you serving them in that moment, but you're also wiring them to understand that that's the way they approach their teammates and their siblings and other people. You approach them with empathy, with a caring spirit, in service to others. That's what you're showing them. Again, they are getting something out of it in the moment, but they're also getting a lesson in how to deal with others. Here's the first thing that I need you to do. Set some boundaries, okay? Emphasize the importance of limits and discipline. And you know what's one of the big ones? Saying no. Now think about that. We know this as adults, as entrepreneurs, as business leaders, as managers at work, that there's a ton of things that we can do. The key to being successful is saying no to a lot of them. Just the skill of being able to say no is huge. It's huge. Knowing when to say no and having the guts to say no are extremely important. Now, I just want to point out one more reason that I think, we're talking about the future leaders. We're talking about, future moms and dads. That's who we're building through this entire process of developing an athlete. But one of the things that I also see as a way to build a future with these young athletes is as entrepreneurs. Now, hear me out on this. I think that if we can teach them to be disciplined, be able to handle, adversity, make tough decisions, these are things that will propel them as a entrepreneur, right? And because also I understand that it's entrepreneurs that can really move the needle in terms of influencing the greater good, impacting the society and the community. Entrepreneurs can do that. I'm not even getting into this like the root of all evil, money is. No, listen, money is power. Money allows us to do the things that we want to do. Money also allows us to impact the good things that we think that we want to see in the world around us. I'm not just talking about philanthropy. I'm talking about, you know what? If I had 10 people with a lot of money, I hope 7 of them are good people. Because those 7 good people with resources, with financial resources, can change the world. And so, look, I get it. It's entrepreneurship is not necessarily for everyone, but what I found is like a lot of my guys that have played for me in college and high school, man, we're talking about business leaders, right? Heads of surgical departments. I got guys that are in law school that have graduated from law school. I got moms that are amazing moms at home and doing stuff that I am so proud to see. But it takes us being intentional about everything that we're doing so that we can build the type of human beings, I think, that can take on that role of being a leader, being an entrepreneur, being a visionary. Because again, I think if they can do that, they can really change the world. So this isn't about perfection, guys. Trust me on this. It's about progress. Show up every day. Teach these kids what they need to know and watch them grow into the leaders that we all envision for our future. Don't wait for the world to raise your kids. It is not going to turn out well. Step up and do it yourself. And because if you don't, who will? And the way we do anything is the way we do everything. So that's why we work on the sports stuff, on their nutrition, teaching them what it means to have good sleep habits. Because when we teach them to be disciplined and mind the details, it is going back to that principle again. Control the controllables, as you've always heard me say. And the way they do anything is the way that they will do everything. This is completely within our power. So here are a few takeaways. Here are a couple things that I want you to actually work on this week when you're with your kid. Right? We got drive time. We got time at the dinner table. Find time to connect with these kids. And I want you to have an intentional conversation about one or more of those core values. What does it mean to them? How would they define it? I found that very interesting. That when you asked a kid to define, I went into my phone and I texted like 25 of my former athletes, current and former athletes, and I asked them to define mental toughness. Ladies and gentlemen, I got 25 different answers, but cool. It uncovered for me the fact that we need to do a better job of making sure that we define these things and not assuming that everybody's on the same page with the definition. The other thing that I mentioned earlier is something that we do in my house. My kids know they have a verbatim definition for discipline. Doing what you're supposed to do, even when you don't feel like doing it. That's it. So now when something happens, I could tell them, I could say, hey, what is the definition of discipline? Doing what I'm supposed to do, even when I don't feel like doing it. And then they can answer the question for themselves. I'm saying, like, look, we need to get up and we need to do X, Y, and Z. If they're hemming, hawing, and looking for excuses, right? What's the definition of discipline? Because it lets them, again, goes back to the decision-making process. Give them the information that they need and let them figure it out. That's what you need to do. Thank you for being in the Driveway Dads community, being part of the Driveway Dads family. Make sure you check out the blog on the topic. It's drivewaydads.com. I think you'll find a lot of good resources. Hopefully, we're sharing a lot of ideas with you. Join us online. We also have the Game Day Guide. That's a free guide to download at wecoachparents.com/game ready to download your resource on building character and getting ready for a game on the day of. I hope this all helps you. If you have any comments or questions, be sure to hit me up on social media, and I look forward to talking to you again soon. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of the Driveway Dad podcast. I hope you found something to take back to your athlete or maybe even add to your game. If you've enjoyed today's show, I'd love your help in spreading the word. Take a moment to leave us a quick review. It helps more parents like you find this podcast and join the community. And while you're at it, share this episode with a fellow parent or maybe a coach who could use some inspiration today. Remember, the way you do anything is the way you do everything. So keep showing up, keep doing the work, and keep making a difference. Let's run up the score together. Catch you next time.